Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Let's Talk Ghosts. And just for the record, if you happen to hear some snoring in the background, that's not Bruce. That is our dog, Pickles. And I will try to edit him out. But sometimes it's kind of hard to do that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, today we've got an older episode that we have not discussed before. It's one of the Ghost Brothers series, Haunted Houseguests. And I don't think we've done this one before. This is also on DiscoveryPlus, and we did the first season 1, episode 1, which is called The Bad Man. So the way I'm seeing most of these Ghost Brothers shows is they always seem to open in the barbershop. Now, I don't know if the Lights Out one does the same thing. I don't know. I haven't watched that one, I don't think. Anyway. So it opens in the barbershop when they're discussing a video email that they received from a family in this house called the Wedding Cake House. And they are having some trouble with an entity that's causing some physical pain as well as fear. So the woman that's there, Jessica, she was in her bathroom, and for some reason the mirror, it was a big heavy sort of plate glass mirror, kind of stood straight up because it had been leaning against the wall because it was a great big mirror, stood straight up and then shattered before it even fell forward and crashed on the ground. The glass inside shattered, and it sliced at one of her lower legs, like from basically knee to ankle, cutting right to the bone and slicing through tendons and an artery. She's fortunate to be alive, really.
Yeah.
The scar is ugly. I think she said she was in the hospital for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
As they were doing multiple surgeries to repair the damage.
Yeah. And
the scar is really quite ugly. It looks like a trauma scar, really big, thick and wide, and nothing pretty there. So she's very fearful. Has seen a shadow man mostly, and he watches them, and it just kind of acts menacing, I guess, more than anything. Yeah. She has seen a lady, they call her the pretty lady, and she's a lady in a white gown, but she just kind of flits around and just kind of watches what they're doing, and nothing bad. They don't feel anything bad from the pretty lady, just from the entity they call the bad man. Right. So, in the first part of the investigation, now the way this one works, I guess it's over the course of a weekend, and the first night, the Ghost Bros stay overnight there with the family's there too, but they're in the living room, they stay overnight, and then the next night they do the actual investigation. Anyway, in the first part of this, the couple is there. They've sent the child off to Grandma's house for the night. So Conrad and Jessica, that's husband and wife, are there, and they kind of go through the house, doing not just kind of the tour and a little bit of minor investigating at the same time. And they're talking. They're standing in one of the rooms talking, and two of them see a shadow in the kitchen, and it kind of flits across. Yeah. So they go into the kitchen. Fancy that. They see something, and they go after it. Yeah. Compared to that last one that we saw, that we just see it, but, or hear it, we're not going to go investigate. Anyway, they go into the kitchen, and while they're standing and they're talking and asking questions, trying to do kind of an EVP session, the stove turns on, and it's the kind that you physically have to touch to turn it on. And then when they say, I forget what question they asked, is that you, Byron, or something? Or are you, I don't even know if they know the person's name at this point. But then the REM pod starts going off. Yeah. So, interesting. They've gone downstairs into the basement, which is creepy. Yeah. And I mean, the creepy factor is the stairwells. I shouldn't say that this basement itself is creepy. It's just a basement, like our basement, just basement. Yeah. But it's the stairwell that is steep and narrow. Yeah. And it's the kind that you don't want to go down those stairs unless you have to, because it's dangerous. And that's one of the things that, I don't know, I would get fixed almost right away, is you try to get that longer somehow so that you aren't risking your life going down those stairs. And of course, this has a couple different levels to this house. I'm waving my hands around. The husband is an ex-Marine. Yeah. Now, he's an injured vet, so he walks with a cane. He's got a funky eye. I'm kind of wondering if, like you said, maybe a head injury. Yeah. But he seems to do okay. Yeah, but his eye looks different, and one of his eyes looks different. So when Marcus said the REM pod was going off like Morse code, I know you don't like Marcus. I'm trying to figure out if it was just because it was going off really fast, or if it was like Morse code trying to send a message to the soldier.
If it was 1850, I would say Morse code. But Morse code is not used regularly. So
no, it is very old school. Yeah. It is still in certain parts of military service, they still teach it.
Yeah,
but this guy, there was no inclination, no story that either of the owners were soldiers.
Yeah,
so I think it was just, you know how those REM pods do that. Yeah. So it was making a lot of noise, and Marcus is just saying, "Oh, it's Morse code." Yeah, because sometimes he's kind of a twit.
Sometimes.
Anyway, they stay overnight after this. Jessica and Conrad go upstairs to bed. They kind of crash in the living room because there's like 3 little sofas in there, and they stay in there. The next morning, they head off to do research on the property. And this is when they discover that Richard, who is the original builder and owner of the house, he's passed away in the house, and his wake was in the parlor in the house. Yeah. The second owner's name is Byron. He also passed away in the house and had his wake in the house. Now, they discovered this information through some articles that were in the paper, historical articles in the paper, and written by a lady named Mary Dreyer. I think it was Dreyer. And she's a local lady, a local journalist, and she still lives in town. So Dalen actually went to speak to her and got probably more information than what they actually showed on TV. Because to me, what they showed was very, very little. Yeah. But he got enough to know the names of those people. So now the owners of the house have gone away for the investigation to let them do it overnight. And they bring in a psychic medium. They call it a psychic medium, but later call her an intuitive. So I'm not quite sure. I guess a psychic medium is intuitive. I don't know. Anyway, her name is Carrie Kennedy, and she comes in, and they put a couple of pictures in front of her, pictures of Richard, whom she doesn't really have much to say. He's a caretaker. He lives there still. His wife is there. She's probably the pretty lady.
Anything wrong?
Yeah, he says he hasn't done anything wrong. And that's what he said to her. I haven't done anything wrong. And then they put the picture of Byron, the second owner, in front of her, and she instantly reacts. You know, this is a guy, he's malicious, he's not nice, he's scheming, that sort of thing. Yeah. She doesn't even want to touch the picture, really, because she gets a really strong reaction. So then they decide, okay, we know the bad man is mostly on the second floor. So they go upstairs, and this is quite a large house. Yeah. And it was built in the 1800s where they had servants. So it has a small staircase that goes upstairs and comes down through the kitchen. This is called the servants' staircase. And there are servants' quarters. So basically, there are rooms upstairs that were set aside for the servants. Now, one of these servants' quarters is now a big walk-in closet. And that's, you can see because they've got the hanging closet things all over the place in there. And all their clothes is in there. So they're in that room, and they're talking and trying to call out the bad guy. And she goes lurching forward. And one of the guys kind of stops her from hitting the dressing table with the mirror. She says, "He touched my back." To me, that was a huge response for having your back touched. She wasn't shoved. He touched my back, and it startled her, and she went lurching forward. That's the way I'm interpreting it. So I think it was an overreaction on her part. Like, honestly, if you're a psychic medium, you've been touched before, more than likely. Like, lady, you're going into a house that's haunted, trying to make contact with something you know ahead of time is not nice. Really? You're gonna... Okay, all right, whatever. Then, as time goes on, I wasn't over impressed with the investigation. To me, it could be that we're just not seeing it all because of time, right?
Yeah.
At one point, right after this event, with the psychic, Marcus says, "We need to tell the owners to sell the house."
Yeah.
And then he says it again, right, to the owners during their time when they're telling them what's going on. Now, honestly, that's not always the answer. Sell your house. Because then you're just leaving the problem for the next people.
Yeah.
And why would you just go ahead and sell your house without even trying to fix it? You know, it's your house. It might be something as very simple as doing a cleansing.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah.
You know, a little sage, gone. Perfect, we're fine now.
Or a lot of sage.
Well, but you know what I mean? Like, why suddenly, you got to sell your house? Dude! It's not a demon, it's just a mad and angry ghost.
Yeah.
And a psychic or a priest can take care of that.
Yeah.
And that is the thing that I thought, too, is how come they didn't bring that psychic medium back?
Yeah.
Okay. Or even before they let her go. Yeah. They've identified the problem.
Yeah.
I thought psychic mediums were able to send people to the light. Well, open the doorway and off they go.
But you have to learn that. You know.
Well, maybe she doesn't know how. Yeah. Maybe they didn't even suggest it.
Yeah.
But that was one of my questions. Well, she's there. Why can't she take care of the problem? Or at least attempt to take care of the problem? Yeah. You know? Yeah. Because later they do ask him, you know, they do say, "Do you want to leave?" And the REM pod goes off as in yes. Yeah. So he's stuck there and he's angry. Now, maybe he's angry because he's stuck there and doesn't know how to cross over.
I don't know.
But, I mean, they didn't even try. Oh, just sell your house. So that part really disturbed me. But by the same token, he says, "Well, you should sell your house. But if you don't want to do that, we have a few names of people you can call." So I don't know what the names were, if it was priests or whatever, some spiritual people for them to call to help cleanse their house or get rid of this entity, which to me is what I would want to do. I don't think I would want to immediately move. Yeah. You know, this is especially this big, beautiful house that they're probably still paying for. Mm-hmm. Unless, you know, his benefits from the Marine Corps gave him enough money to pay for this, which is unlikely. Yeah. But down in the States, houses seem so much cheaper than they are up here. Yeah. You know, like, holy moly, they're much cheaper down there. Everybody has great big houses. These are great, you know, big manor houses, and not us here. No. So that's really the end of the investigation. Then they have an update. They get an update from these folks 5 weeks later, and Jessica comes on the screen, and she says that they've decided not to move. Yeah. They haven't done anything. They just feel like they're more equipped to deal with whatever it is now.
And sometimes that's all that you need.
True. Sometimes giving you the power of taking back your home.
Yeah.
Maybe they can talk the guy to leaving. Yeah. I mean, who knows? But they have decided not to move, which I think is the right choice at that point. You have to at least try. And maybe that's what they're going to do. She didn't really say too much of what they were going to do, just that you've given us the right tools that we can cope now. Yeah. And so obviously after 5 weeks, they're coping.
Yeah.
They're still there. They've decided not to move.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't know. I mean, the show itself was okay. I will watch. I mean, I do enjoy the Ghost Brothers. I know you don't like Marcus.
Yeah.
Because you say he's silly.
He's a retard.
Well, he thinks he's funny.
Well,
and sometimes he is. No. But you don't like him.
He's more annoying.
I find sometimes he's very inappropriate. His humor can be very inappropriate. But I like the Ghost Brothers otherwise. I like Dalen. We watch Dalen. And I like Juwan. And Marcus is okay, in spots. I think the levity he brings is sometimes important, but it's how he uses it. Sometimes it's really quite inappropriate, and that's what I don't like. But I will watch some more of these. I have seen more of these Haunted Houseguests before on regular TV, and I'm going to go through and watch more of these on Discovery. I haven't seen Lights Out, I don't think. Maybe I have, because, when they're on Travel and Escape and stuff, we watch stuff, and maybe I have, I don't know. So maybe we'll watch that one, one of those ones next and go from there. But it was pretty good. So this was season 1, episode 1 of Haunted Houseguests, The Bad Man.
Yeah.
And I would really love to know further down the road what happened here, although we're probably never going to know. No. But I would love to know that they were able to keep their house.
Yeah.
Anyways, folks, that's it for today. Another edition of Let's Talk Ghosts. Hope you're having a wonderful day, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in this great wide world.
Happy hunting.
Happy haunting now. Bye.